She told me to be patient, that healing wasn't linear, that we were doing the work. I was journaling, going to therapy, reading books she suggested. And all the while, she was texting her ex about how I was just a phase she had. To go through, my name's Evan Taylor. I'm 34, living in Seattle, working as a UX designer for a mid-sized startup. I'm the quiet, type-not, antisocial, just someone who's better one-on-one than in crowds. The kind of guy who brings a book to a bar just in case no one shows up. I met Leela at a friend's rooftop birthday party in Capitol Hill. She was wearing this oversized mustard yellow cardigan, sipping a drink called Purple Haze, and holding court with a small circle of people talking about astrology and trauma healing. I wasn't going to talk to her. She was electric, one of those people who made you feel like a planet orbiting their sun. But she talked to me, said she liked my shirt. It had a tiny embroidered fox on the pocket, inside joke from a game. My niece made me play once. She got that. She asked me about it, noticed it. That was the first thing. She noticed me. We fell hard, fast. Within a month, she was sleeping over 5 nights a week. By the 3rd month, we'd made a shared playlist on Spotify called Feels Like Sunday. We'd cook chickpea curry together, binge-watch the OA, and fall asleep with her hand on my chest and my dog. Bruno, a lumpy golden retriever, rescue at our feet. She was a therapist in training, finishing her supervised hours. Always talking about growth, safe spaces, the importance of doing the work. At first, I found it inspiring. I started journaling, reading Brené Brown, going to therapy myself. She said that meant a lot to her. That vulnerability was everything, but slowly, something shifted. Her phone was always face down. She started using words I hadn't heard from her before, things like energetic mismatch and emotional labor. At first, I thought she was just evolving, learning new frameworks, but then it turned into something colder. Like she was analyzing me, diagnosing me. She'd sigh when I asked simple things like what she wanted for dinner. She started spending more time out, late sessions with clients, spontaneous yoga retreats, girls' nights that ended at 2 a.m. I told myself it was fine, that maybe I was just being clingy. Maybe I needed to trust the process, like she always said. Growth takes time, Evie, she told me once, running her fingers through my hair. You're doing so good. Don't give up now. But that night, I saw her phone light up while she was in the bathroom. For a second. The name on the screen? Matt. I didn't know a Matt. Not in our friend group. Not in her therapy program. And the preview of the message. I miss you too. It hit me in the chest like cold water. But I told myself not to jump to conclusions. It's probably a client, I said. Or her cousin. Or some old friend she's just being nostalgic with. Still, I couldn't shake the unease. I started watching her more closely. Not stalking, just noticing, paying attention. The way she smiled at her phone and tucked it under her thigh when I entered the room. The way she suddenly forgot our weekend plans because she was emotionally drained. The way she told me to trust the process more frequently, like it was some magic phrase meant to fix the growing hollow in my chest. And that night, as I lay next to her in bed, I watched her breathing slowly, steadily. I wanted so badly to believe she was still mine, but something told me she'd already left. After that night, the word Matt echoed in my mind like a bell you can't unring. I didn't ask her about it, not directly. I didn't want to come off as paranoid, because I could already hear the tone she'd use, soft, patronizing, like I was some child acting out from insecurity. She was good with words. Too good sometimes. Instead, I paid attention. The next morning, while she was in the shower, I checked her phone. I know. That's not something I'm proud of. But this wasn't about curiosity. This was survival, sanity, except her phone was locked. She used to keep it open. No Face ID. No password. Now, full lock. And I wasn't in her Face ID registry anymore, I could tell, because when I picked it up, it asked for a passcode instead of scanning. I tried to talk myself down from the ledge, told myself it was healthy to have boundaries, that maybe she just started locking it because of work, confidential clients, its ethical responsibilities. But even that felt like a stretch. Something had changed. She'd go into the other room to take phone calls now. Mute the volume when we watched movies. She started showering with her phone on the sink, screen turned toward the wall. I noticed how she'd come home from her trauma support circle wearing a different shirt than she left in. When I asked, she laughed it off, spilled kombucha. On it, babe, but there was no smell, no stain, just clean fabric and a hint of cologne that wasn't mine. The excuses grew flimsy, paper-thin. But each time I tried to bring something up, she flipped it. One night I asked very gently, "Hey, is everything okay with us?" She blinked and gave me that familiar look. Calm, collected, therapist mode, engaged. "Evan, why are you asking that? I just feel like you've been distant lately." Her sigh was theatrical. She looked up at the ceiling like she was searching for patience. "See? This is exactly what I mean when I say you're still operating from a place of fear. You need to trust the process, babe. Healing isn't linear." And then came the gut punch. "Do you even want me to keep choosing you every day? Because this energy isn't exactly inviting?" It's that line. Keep choosing you every day. Like I was some project she was volunteering to fix. She gaslit me so gently. I almost thanked her for it. After that conversation, I started to spiral. One minute I'd convince myself I was crazy. The next, I'd feel sure she was cheating, I asked. One of her friends, Jamie, who used to love our couple dynamic if they'd seen Leela around lately. Jamie's reaction was off. A long pause. "Then yeah, I think she's just been really busy. You know how it is." I knew that tone. It was the same one people use when someone dies. They don't want to be the one to break the news. Then came the passwords.netflix. Logged out. Spotify. Suddenly, under a different username, our shared Google Calendar. Deleted. I confronted her about the calendar one evening. She said I'm reclaiming my time. Boundaries, babe. The word babe started to sound like a placeholder. Like she couldn't remember who she was talking to. One night, she left her iPad open on the kitchen counter. She always synced her messages across devices at least. She used to. And there it was. A message thread labeled Matt Old Era, the most recent message. Still feels like home. I want to come back. Her reply, I think about you. Every night, Evans, safe, but you're real. Safe. Like a seatbelt. Like a life jacket. Like something you keep around just in case. My hands shook as I scrolled. The messages weren't explicit, nothing you could screenshot and parade around as definitive evidence. But they were intimate, nostalgic. Flirty in that dangerous way exes flirt when they think no one's watching. That was it. That was my confirmation. She was cheating, not with her body maybe, but with her mind, her emotions, her time, and all. The while she was telling me to trust the process, I realized the only process happening was me slowly being replaced. I didn't say anything that night. I just closed the iPad, placed it back where she left it, and poured myself a glass of water with hands that wouldn't stop trembling. My brain was racing, but my body, numb, hollow. I felt like a guy sitting in the wreckage of a house that hadn't even finished burning yet. The next morning, I woke up before her. Just sat on the edge of the bed watching her sleep. It was wild how peaceful she looked, how at ease. Her hand was still resting gently against my chest, just like in the early days, like instinct, muscle memory. But now, every little gesture felt poisoned. I knew I needed to do something, but I didn't want to scream, didn't want to become the unhinged man in her narrative. I wanted clarity, and I wanted closure. Real closure. So I started documenting everything. Quietly screenshots from her iPad, text logs I exported. I started screen recording my own phone every time she messaged me things like, "You're the only one. Feel safe with." Right after I'd seen her chatting with Matt. I needed the contrast. The receipts. I even began journaling, not the self-growth kind she encouraged, but a cold log of her inconsistencies. Places she said she was, times she said she'd be home, how often she forgot plans, and then something unexpected happened. Week later, I got a DM on Instagram from someone named Maya. Her message said, "Hey, this is probably super weird. Are you still with Layla? I think we should talk. My stomach dropped. Turns out Maya was Matt's current or maybe recent girlfriend. They had been on again, off again, for years. She found messages on Matt's phone after a weekend he spent camping with no signal. Same messages. Flirty tone. Same timestamp as the night Leela came home late wearing a different top. Maya had been suspicious too. But she had no idea Leela was in a relationship. No clue I even existed. And now we were two strangers bound together by the wreckage these two people left in their wake. We exchanged screenshots. Well, pieces of a puzzle that formed a full picture once placed together. I realized Leela and Matt had never stopped. Not really, I was the placeholder, the safe landing, the emotional sponge while he got to be the excitement, the fantasy, the memory. I didn't scream, didn't throw things. I didn't even cry. I just made a plan. Layla and I were supposed to go to her friend Angela's engagement party that weekend. Small garden gathering, intimate, classy. Most of her close friends and family would be there, people who knew me. As the guy who helped her heal, I dressed in my best, polished, calm. I had Maya text me one last screenshot, the one where Leela told Matt, "He's sweet, but not you. He's just part of the process." Part of the process, I printed. It. Folded it. Slipped it into a small envelope. At the party, Leela looked radiant, flowing dress, hair curled, champagne in hand. She walked over and gave me a light kiss on the cheek. I held her waist gently, smiled for the photos. Then I leaned in and whispered, "I brought something for you. Thought it might complete the process." I handed her the envelope. She looked confused but curious-like. She thought it was a love note. She opened it. Her face changed in slow motion. Confusion, recognition, shock, and finally, panic. She looked at me, mouth parted but no words. I just nodded toward her friends, most of whom were now watching us. "You can explain it to them however you like. Therapist, healer, or just liar." And I left. I didn't yell, didn't cause a scene. I let her sit in the silence she'd built. For me, I walked away knowing she couldn't gaslight everyone. And that moment, that look on her face, was better than any revenge fantasy I could have planned. I didn't go back to the apartment that night. I already packed a bag earlier that morning and stashed it in my trunk just in case I needed to walk away, and never looked back. When I left the party, I didn't drive home. I drove to a cheap little Airbnb north of the city, a converted studio above someone's garage that smelled like cedar and rain. Bruno was with me. He always could tell when something was wrong. That night, he curled up against me tighter than usual, like even he was mourning something. The next morning, I texted her, "I won't be coming back. The lease ends in 2 months. You're welcome to stay until then. My name's already off. The utilities don't contact me. No dramatic goodbye. No open door. Just silence." She didn't reply right away, but later that evening my phone buzzed with a wall of texts. "Evan, please, can we just talk? You completely blindsided me. That was so cruel. You knew I was in a complicated place. Emotionally. Don't throw away everything we built just because you're hurting." I didn't respond. A few days later, a voicemail came through. Her voice was quieter, less performative. Like she was genuinely unraveling. She cried, apologized, said she was confused and lost and didn't mean to hurt anyone. That she only realized what she had when she saw me walk away. That last line almost got me, but I'd heard enough empty therapy speak to last me a lifetime. If I closed my eyes, I could still hear her voice in my head from just a week ago, coaching me through my emotional reactivity while she snuck off to text her ex. I blocked her number, deleted the voicemail. And then, finally, I did what I should have done months ago. I took care of me. I extended my Airbnb stay and found a part-time remote gig to float some extra income, and finally started therapy, again real therapy. Not because she told me to, not because I was trying to heal into someone worthy of love, but because I wanted to find out what parts of myself I'd abandoned trying to become her version of a safe man. Turns out a lot. I stopped listening to that shared playlist, stopped watching the OA, stopped eating chickpea curry. I adopted new routines, new meals, New shows that didn't carry ghosts in every frame. A few mutual friends reached out. Some cautiously, others supportively. One of her old friends, Angela, actually texted me after the party. I had no idea. She always made it sound like you were the one being distant. I didn't reply to that either, but I appreciated it. Weeks passed. Then a month. Then 2 in one day. I ran into Matt at a grocery store of all places. He looked exactly like I imagined, smug but tired. That kind of permanent 5 o'clock shadow in a hoodie that probably cost $300. He noticed me, froze, and then gave me a stiff nod. "Yo," he said. "Didn't think I'd see you here, yeah?" I replied. "Small city?" He looked awkward for a beat, then said, "I didn't know she was still with you, man. I wouldn't have." But I cut him off. "It doesn't matter," she told. UI was a phase. Turns out she was wrong. He blinked, probably expecting a fight or some bitter jab. Instead, I grabbed my carton of oat milk, turned, and walked away. No drama. No closure. Just peace. People love to talk about closure like it's a door. You get to shut, clean, final. But that's not how it worked for me. There was no grand moment where I felt healed or victorious. No montage of me lifting weights, changing my haircut, or going on some spontaneous trip to Bali. That's not how pain leaves you. It's quieter, slower. Like smoke leaking out through a cracked window you didn't know was open. In the months that followed, I started to unpack. The real damage, not just from Leela, but from myself. From the way I made myself small to fit her needs. From the way I mistook emotional vocabulary for actual emotional maturity. From the way I let someone tell me how I felt and believed them over my own gut. That was the hardest part, honestly. Learning. To trust myself again, to know that when I felt something was wrong, it probably was. That gaslighting doesn't always come with shouting. Slam doors, it can come in soft tones and perfectly curated Instagram quotes. I kept going to therapy, not to fix anything, but to understand the part of me that stayed in that relationship long after it stopped feeling like love. I learned how to sit with silence. How to enjoy being alone again without that gnawing ache of needing to be someone else's anchor. I still have Bruno. He's older, now sleeps more. Walks slower, but he's always waiting by the door when I come home. Somehow he's the only one who never made me question my worth. Sometimes I think about Leela, not with anger, not even sadness really, just clarity. I hope she figures herself out someday. I hope she learns that doing the work doesn't mean avoiding the truth, that honesty isn't a performance. That healing doesn't give you permission to hurt other people along the way. As for me, I'm okay. Not perfect, not invincible. Just okay, and I think that's enough. She got the bookshelf, the couch, the plants from our patio, but I got my peace. And I don't need her apology anymore if you enjoyed my story. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more real-life stories like this.